G'day, I'm Kit Perry, and this is my 40 Series Land Cruiser Frank. In this video, I'm going to go through changing over the turbo. So I'm going to remove the old CT26 and replace it with a GMT variant of it, which is a Munro Racing Turbochargers turbo. So I had a chat to Glenn a while back now and just sort of explained to him what I wanted to achieve with it. So I'm not chasing big numbers or anything. I'm basically just trying to get something that's going to be a little bit more efficient, reach boost a little bit earlier, and I'm going to hopefully increase the boost a little bit more than standard. Currently, I'm running about 15 PSI, which seems to be the sort of consensus as to where the stock standard sort of CT26 runs out of efficiency, and then, just basically is, pushing hot air and not really sort of doing too much after that. So I've been running at 15 PSI for quite some time now, and it's not too bad, but I'd just like to get a little bit more boost earlier on the spool up, and then I'm aiming for between 20 and 25 PSI overall. So a little bit of an increase, but not sort of, nothing crazy. In terms of the engine, rebuilt the engine a couple of years ago now, so it's sort of a fresh-ish rebuild. I've put probably about 30,000 Ks on it since then. Injector pump was done, injectors were done, got them done at JH Hilux, Josh there, and highly recommend his service. He does a great job, so good on you, Josh. What else can I tell you? So the engine's a 14 BT, which is not very common in Australia anyway. So originally out of Toyota Diners, and it's an imported Japanese engine, this one. It's 4-cylinder, 3.7 litre, factory turbo diesel engine. I can sort of, to give you some figures, sitting on the highway, sits on, 100 to 110 all day long, no problems. It's married up to a H55F, so sits at about 2100 revs on the highway and pushes about 7 PSI at that, just cruising sort of speed. The pump on these guys is pretty decent. Actually, it's a 12 millimeter pump on them. So I've got a fair bit more fuel left in it until I'm sort of maxed out. So I'm hoping with having a more efficient turbo that comes on boost earlier and reaches a higher level of boost, that I can also maybe start putting a little bit more fuel into it. I've done a fair bit of tuning on it in terms of the injector pump, playing with the static timing, and I'm currently going through playing with the automatic advanced timing piston. So haven't started it yet, but I've started doing a bit of research into that, which should be interesting. What else? Did a little bit of work to the aneroid pin, a little bit of work to the star wheel. The only trouble with the 14 BTs, they're actually really tricky to work on in terms of the boost compensator, because it sits right underneath the intake manifold. So it's a bit of a pain to sort of get to, but it is what it is. So anyway, enough of me talking. So this is the turbo. So built by Glenn Munro in Queensland. So it's based on a CT26 with a 1HDT housing at the back, but it's not exactly like a stock one. So it's 2 seconds. He does a bit of porting on them. It's got a 46 millimeter 6 and 6 compressor wheel in it. What else? Wastegate actuators set at about 15, I think he said at the moment, but I'll probably throw a boost in and raise it up using that afterwards. But it's decent looking turbo. Like, I think he's done a brilliant job. Like, I can't sort of knock it in any way. It's really nice. The tolerances on it look really tight. So I'm looking forward to throwing it on. And you can also sort of tell, so when I was thinking about doing all this, I did a lot of research. So went through and looked at, G Turbo with the green wheel that they offer. Looked at some, what were the other ones I looked at? Mamba, Kinagawa, a few different ones. I even thought about compounding it at one stage, but to be honest, I always try to think of, the KISS principle, keep it simple, stupid. So anyway, in the end, wound up going for GMT. He's a Queensland bloke. I like supporting Aussie companies. I think that's great. And, some of the things like, a lot of the other turbos, you get them out and, you don't get all the parts that you need, but, he sent literally everything, and real good quality. gaskets that come with it. But yeah, so it shouldn't be too hard to change it out. Basically, process will be I'll drop the oil, do an oil change at the same time, and then yeah, it's basically a matter of just unbolting the turbo drain pipe, the water inlets, and swapping them over to the new one, and then bolting it back together, fill her up with oil, and away we go. So hope you enjoy, and yeah, if you have any questions about the turbo or Frank or anything, give us a comment. Cheers, here we go. Alright, so I've got the oil draining at the moment. Basically the next part is just unbolting the old turbo pretty much. So I'll start by taking off the inlet and the heat shield, undo these clamps for the crossover pipe, and then yeah, basically just pulling them off. I won't sort of film absolutely every part of this, I'll just sort of do a few shots as we go through, just because it's easier then. But yeah, let's get into it. Oh, let's hit the ground. One more. Alright, so it's with the heat shield removed. So basically from here you've got 4 studs going, so 2 on this side, 2 on the other side, where it attaches to the exhaust manifold, and then at the back here where it attaches to the dump pipe, got to undo those guys, and then underneath here, and so we're pointing about there's an oil pickup tube or drain tube for the turbo, so I've got to undo him at the bottom of the turbo, and then yeah, pull it all off. So there you go, so that's the old one. So you see him there. I'll when I get it off, I'll do a bit of a comparison of the two. Alrighty, yeah, so I move the airbox out of the way. I've got the inlet and outlet for the water taken off. Undone the bolts around the flange for the exhaust manifold where the turbo attaches. Got the dump pipe all off, so should come off now, and the oil pickup and return line for the turbos all undone, so should just come out, but see how we go. Got him! There we go. One thing that's immediately obvious to me is you can see all the porting work that he's done, that Glenn's done down there, and like it's significantly, I'll try and get the light on so you can sort of see down the guts in it. So you can see that, and then if you come over to the old one, you can see there's a significant restriction. So if you look down the guts of that, you can see where it's sort of you've got a significant restriction down here, whereas on this one it's huge difference. So that's the first thing that's sort of noticeable for me. You see there the GMT come across, and that's the original. Hopefully you can sort of see that, like it's a fairly significant difference actually between the two. The outlet, I don't know if there's any difference or if he's done porting for that, I don't know. But yeah, definitely looks like he's done some bloody good work to it actually. Can't wait to get him on and go doo -doo 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 -doo. Alright, so that's pretty much halfway through the job now. So there's a blanking plate on the engine side of the turbo for the water inlet. So I took the old blanking plate off the old turbo and I've transferred it to the new one and tightened that up. So basically now it's sort of the opposite process. So just got to make sure, yeah, so gasket on the exhaust manifold outlet where it comes out, gasket where the dump pipe is, gasket on the oil pickup and return, torque it all down, fill it up with oil, top up the coolant because taking the coolant lines off the turbo lost a little bit of coolant, and then yeah, plumb the airbox back in. But apart from that, yeah, it's a pretty easy process. And looking at the two turbos, I reckon definitely it's going to make a huge difference. So time will tell. Fingers crossed. Should be good. So all right, I'll try and film a little bit of it, but see how we go. Cheers. Actually, I was just thinking, whilst I've got this all off, I may as well sort of go through a couple of things. So this is one of my EGT gauges. This is the pre-turbo one, and I've got another one just down here, down in the dump pipe, so a fair bit down. So I run two, and there's a significant difference between the two, and in my opinion, if you only have one, definitely put it pre-turbo, because the difference in terms of the temperature that you can see and the speed of the response of the readings is significantly better in the pre-turbo position. So for me personally, I sort of back off around 750 degrees Celsius, which is, I think, still pretty conservative. You know, like you can sort of take them a bit more than that, but you know, at the end of the day, I'd rather look after my engine and make sure it's good, and I think 750 as a max is still pretty safe. So that's that. What else? Yeah, I'll do an oil filter change whilst I'm in here as well, but everything else is pretty sort of straightforward. So see if I can film the rest of it. Alright, so up to the install, which is a bit tricky. So a little trick, I've got to keep this gasket for the oil pickup and return line in place while I put the turbo on and into the dump pipe. So anyway, it's a bit tricky. So what I'm going to do, I'll just make sure it's the right way. So that should go that way, I'm pretty sure. Yep, that's right. Okay, so just to give myself a little bit of time, I'm just going to put a little bit of gasket, black gasket making stuff, goo, on it, and I'm hoping that it's enough to just keep it in place whilst I get it there. I'm not going to put a lot on because I don't want it to gummy up the lines there, but just enough to give me a bit of a chance to get it on with only two hands. So it sits down there. Good. So I just push him down a little bit, then hopefully that should stay in place while I put it on. So here we go. Wish me luck. A little bit tricky. It's a bit awkward. We'll see how she goes. Here we go. Gasket staying on. Yep. Beautiful. Okay. Bugger of a thing. Got him in. Right, yeah, so had to jiggle him a bit, but eventually got it. So got the dump pipe on, got it sitting in the studs for the exhaust manifold, and I've got the oil pickup tube in, so she's there. Looks bloody decent too, unreal. Alright, so it's about 3-4 hours later, so 3 or 4 hour job. It's not a hard job, to be honest, you know, like it's sort of a little bit fiddly, but it's pretty easy, to be honest, in the end. So I've got it all bolted up and back together, got the air filter back on, did a oil filter change, topped up the coolant. So ready for the first start, so cross your fingers. Hopefully it sounds good. Interesting. So yeah, it starts up, you know, good. Obviously, it's, I mean, as you expect it would. But interestingly, it sort of has a slightly different idle there. So I don't know. But that's strange because I wouldn't think it would have any difference at idle. But anyway, might just be because it's colder as well. But yeah, sounds good. I'll check the oil levels now, let it settle down, make sure the oil's right, and then I'll take it for a spin and see how she goes. Cheers. Thanks for watching. Alright, so first one here, hopefully if they go in front a bit, we'll do a 0 to 100. Let's see. I'll just give them a bit of time to go before I take off. Here we go. Rightio. So I've had the turbo in for about a week now. I've been chasing a bit of an issue with the fuel pump, and I've sort of isolated it back to I've got a Polac 6-valve sort of crossover thing for the two tanks. So I've got a switch in the cab so that I can switch straight across between the tanks. And I think there's something funny going on with it because I'm noticing when I'm switching between tanks, I'm sort of getting, actually at one stage this week, I was losing power. So basically almost like you're sort of running out of fuel, and then switched over tanks and came fine. And then later that night, I switched over some of the lines in the Polac valve, and then it, started working again. So I got something going on there, but anyway, that's just been a bit of a pain in the backside because I've wanted to sort of, play around with it a bit more, but haven't been able to. But the actual turbo's brilliant. Like, it's unreal. It spools up quicker, handles a lot more boost better. I did a little highway run this Arvo after did a load of rubbish out to the dump, and in fourth before, like I'd sort of get to about 100, 105 before I'd sort of change to fifth, but it was, you know, stretching its legs out to 115, 120 in fourth comfortably, and changing to fifth and still heaps of power to go. So definitely flowing even a lot better up high, but also, you know, as Glenn said, definitely like, you know, sort of down low boost is coming on harder and faster. Another thing I've found out, which has been an interesting part of the whole thing, is that the intercooler I've got, so I've got this cheapie from eBay. So it's a same inside out, same side in and out. So top one's coming is the feed from the turbo, and the crossover pipe goes through here, does a UE, comes back here and goes up to the intake manifold. So what I found out is it's absolute rubbish. So I've got two boost gauges. So I teed one in to where the boost compensator tees into the intercooler piping. So put one on there. So I've got the boost reading pre-intercooler and then now post-intercooler. I'm getting about between a 5 and 7 psi drop, which is just ridiculous. I went and grabbed a 180 degree silicone hose U-joint and bypassed the intercooler, and the difference was phenomenal. Like the boost was just bang, smack on, like, yeah, incredible. Like the boost response was amazing. So definitely need to look into that. So I'm thinking about running a similar sort of size, so I don't have to modify it too much, but then just do it so it's like a normal sort of in one side, out the other side, and then I'll just do a UE and run a bit more piping around maybe behind the front bib or something. I don't know. Anyway, I'll figure that out. But I think definitely that's on the list of mods to do. So I'll do another mod soon. Just a shame, hey. You know, like it would have been cool to keep it the same. But anyway, it's all good. But apart from that, the turbo is just phenomenal. Like, yeah, real happy with it. So thanks, Glenn. And yeah, if you're keen, unfortunately, you have to hit him up next year, because I just saw a post he did the other night that he's not taking any more orders this year because he's flat out. So, you know, it's good luck to him. I think it's great that he's that busy. But, you know, if you want to get an order in, you know, have a chat to him and get it going for next year, because he does bloody good work, you know, and that's why he's so busy. But yeah, if you have any questions, hit us up. Cheers. See you next time.